Hey guys, Chad here with Midlife Classic Cars. Today we're having an interview with Matt Avery in his brand new book, Camaro Special Editions. This is your third book or second book?
Second book.
Second book. So this is his second book that he's done. We're just going to get right into it. We have a great interview for you where he tells you about all the data and everything you can learn inside the book. So let's get into it. All right, guys, let's get started with the interview with Matt Avery. For the second interview, I'm really excited. So, Matt, tell me about your new book.
Oh man, Chad, I'm so excited. Camaro Special Editions has finally released. It's been a journey to bring to market, but man, it is finally available, and I'm really excited because I'm already kind of getting some feedback from Camaro enthusiasts that have gotten it, and I'm eager for more just because of how I approach the project. So I'm waiting for that feedback. I want to see kind of if it resonates with the enthusiasts.
Yeah, well, I can tell you it's going to because just the amount of data and information you put into this book is I mean, there's a lot in here that I've never seen before. So I know the real Camaro enthusiasts are just going to lose it over this book. Yeah.
Well, and you hit the nail on the head, Chad, with the overall intention of the project was to ultimately provide the end all resource for the Camaro collector. And so,
Mhm.
because of that, I wanted to jam in as much factual information in charts and registries as I possibly could, because I did find that that was something that was really needing updating in the marketplace,
Mhm.
especially for modern Camaros. With each passing year, Chad, we are ushering in newer and newer Camaros into the collecting space.
Mhm.
And so, obviously, first and second and third gen, to a certain extent, Camaros have been celebrated for many, many years. But
Yeah.
now we're seeing fourth, fifth, and sixth gen Camaros. And so, I really wanted to kind of be at the forefront of providing data about those cars to kind of
Nice.
keep people interested in them for many years to come.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the one thing. I know this falls under the Cartex special edition series. They've got a Corvette one and they have a Porsche one out, but I think a Mustang. But this
Right.
one, you really went in hard with the data. That this is what's going to separate this one from the other books is the sheer amount of just numbers you put in this book and ability to access the numbers through your QR codes.
Right. Well, yeah, thanks for saying that,
Mhm.
Chad. And yeah, I was my goal and my hope for the project is that as people read through it, there's a couple levels of satisfaction, right? I
Mhm.
hope that certainly from a visual standpoint, that gets people excited, that gets readers interested in the project. The vast majority of the photography, about 90% of the original color photography, I captured myself and really worked to create
Wow.
images that were exciting and starting with the cover, just really putting images together that pull people in.
Yeah. You
But then
did
as
90% of the photography in this book is
yes,
you? That's
yeah,
impressive. That's a lot.
the
That's a
yeah, the
lot.
only ones that I really couldn't get to were some of the Callaway Camaros, and the team over at Callaway was able to provide me with some images of some cars I was not able to get to. But yeah, other than that, the vast majority is the original photography I captured myself. But then hopefully, my goal was that a reader, after first glance of seeing the color photography, enjoying it at that level,
Mhm.
then the next thing that I hope hits them is the amount of charts that are, like you identified, in the
Mhm.
book. And the charts, just for viewers, so they get a handle on what it is. There's a couple different types of charts in terms of data that's presented. I wanted to provide quick reference kind of components charts, or
Mhm.
a kind of a fast facts charts about some of the more notable packages in terms of what the car has. So, for example, the 1967 Z28, one of the most iconic
Yeah.
Camaros. It's one of those things, Chad. In my work, it's funny how often those cars come up, and I'm always like, man, like what was on that package? Like, yeah, I know it was the 302 and had the like. So I wanted to kind of put together charts for the most significant Camaros in terms of what the cars actually had on them.
Mhm.
And then the other major component of charts was master registries, I guess I would call, where basically it's a compilation of all of the Camaros from that special edition in
Mhm.
one place, either identified by a build number or the last couple digits of a VIN.
Yeah.
And the reason why that matters so much in the collecting space, Chad, is that it helps to establish provenance, because even for a wide group of these Camaros that are well known, I would say, are the ones that have been part of Indianapolis with the 500 and the
Yeah.
Brickyard. you know, those cars, when you see them at auction, or if you see them at a show, typically they're readily identified by the graphics or something like that. But it's nice to be able to provide a resource to owners to actually pull up a chart and say, hey, my car is car 18 of 50, you know, as
Yeah.
by the last three of the VIN, and it has this 6-piece transmission. I really want to provide that data because that is so crucial to the collecting community.
Yeah, and I want to say this is one thing we were talking off camera before we got started. This book is great for someone to carry to a car show, to carry to a Mecum auction, which I know you're associated with. That's who you don't see the numbers books like you used to. When I was younger, before the internet became a big thing, numbers books were the big thing at car shows, and people would carry them around on their cart. So when they're looking at cars or looking at heads and parts, they can ID them. And that's what's going to be a great for someone that to have this book in their presence when they're at a show, when they're looking to purchase it, and they can break it down if that's the real car. And I think that's great information. The people that are looking for that information will love this book.
Yeah, exactly right. It's not a restoration know-how. It's
Mhm.
not any kind of a build book like you identified. It is the ultimate collector's guide. And yeah, from my time, you know, I'm on staff with Mecum Auctions, and you know, I am regularly seeing what the collecting space is looking for and
Yeah.
what resources and tools would help facilitate the love for collecting these cars. And so, really having that inside track, I was able to kind of distill the most important data and put it into a kind of a quick reference guide.
Yeah.
And I really do hope, Chad, that as this book gets out into the hands of readers, I really do hope that I see it out and about, certainly at Mecum Auctions as well as other events, only from the standpoint of if it's being used. I'm saying if it's being used and helping the reader, that would really make me as the author
Yeah.
very excited, just so that people can really, you know, I love to see them, you know, tracing their finger down a chart or whatever to identify a
Yeah.
car. That was the intention of the book, was to really kind of help cement the cars that are in it, establish what they are, and help to identify them. And that also helps with preservation too, Chad, with some of these cars, is that not necessarily that some of them have been lost per se, but by having confirmation of, hey, this car was part of a special package, it gives more of a spotlight on it, and that will foster someone wanting to cherish and enjoy it for many years to come.
When it will help, because I know with the older cars, you know, there's a lot of people that make clones, and they're not honest about it. And hopefully with this, you know, it'll allow people to find those numbers to verify cars, you know, to help people not get screwed over when purchasing limited edition or a special edition car.
Right. Yeah. Great point. Is that, you know, in a day and age where clones and replicas, tributes, recreations, imaginations, all that kind of stuff exists, it's vital from a collecting standpoint that you have accurate, you know, concrete data that states what your car is, or maybe more importantly, isn't. And to the end of the chart, something that you referenced earlier is the inclusion of QR codes. And that's something else that is, I would say, groundbreaking from a publishing standpoint. It's something certainly that CarTech has never done before. Actually, my project, the Camaro book project, is the first book for them to include embedded QR codes. And so what that will allow, Chad, is there is 70 additional pages of digital content that is available to anyone who buys the book. And essentially throughout the pages where there wasn't room to include all the data that I wanted to include, what CarTech and I did was we were able to kind of innovate this QR code system where now, you know, any smartphone can recognize that. And so when you click on it, it now takes you to a digital version of a chart with a lot of data. And one of the best examples of why this is significant, I point to, is the 1993 Indy 500 Camaro pace car dealer replicas, and that were made available because there were 645 of those cars built and offered for sale. And we see them regularly at Mecum Auctions. They're popular with collectors, the black and white with the confetti stripes and the confetti interior.
I think I know which car that is.
Yeah. And they kind of stand out because there was matching trucks that went with them.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of those things, Chad, where there are 645 of them. And again, all of them are unique. That was that was an exclusive package to that Indy Festival era. But it was one of those things of, I want to provide this data because we see them at Mecum auctions regularly. They are sought after by collectors. And so I wanted to provide that data, but there was no way that I was going to be able
Yeah.
to print. It ended up, I think that chart alone was 18 pages of just build information for each of those cars in terms of the last VIN, and we have some additional data. So I will say it's one of those things that it may not be readily apparent on the surface, but hopefully as readers dive into this book and they really start exploring it, they see how much data and information it has to offer.
So much data. Yeah. I mean, and people should know when you scan the QR code, it's not just some piece of paper you're looking at. It's a nicely made out chart for the numbers to follow. It's easy to read. You can pinch and zoom it, which is really nice and stuff. So this is going to be something easy for someone to use at a show to be able to pull up and look at and everything.
Right. And one of the other added values to the concept and to how it plays out is that some of the charts require updating. Chad, and my research is ongoing into Chevrolet's performance vehicle. And I will say that while some of the data is well established, it just was a matter of compiling it. Some of it, my research is actually the forefront of what the data is available, and I will say some of it will require some updating and tuning and tweaking, and that having the digital aspect allows me to do that and make it even better as we move into the future.
Yeah, that'll be great. So is it mainly for the newer cars you're updating? Because I do know, in the past, like they have the numbers out, but then they find out, some were actually made, and they have to update. But when you're talking about updates, is it mainly for newer cars or all of them?
It is. It is. First and second gen. A lot of that data that has been out there for decades and has been vetted, has been organized. And while the book includes that, I will say, it's the newer cars like you identified that where a lot of, we're kind of in a new frontier, particularly with the fourth gen era, is where that era right now is hot with collectors and growing. That early 2000s era, as you look into, what Callaway was doing and SLP and Berger and GMMG, and a lot of that data, Chad, those cars are right on that weird kind of cusp of they're new enough to resonate with younger collectors and enthusiasts. Yet enough time has passed where they're being deemed as desirable collectibles. And so I will say it's very exciting for me as a kind of the tip of the spear in some of those areas to be providing more and more light onto their story in tracking any kind of information related to them.
Yeah, because it seems like with the newer ones, there's a lot out there, but they're just not seem to be on the road as much as, like, say, the classics are. So to keep this history around, to keep the numbers around so people can find that's really interesting. I love people that are into hunting cars and love those stories. And I just know this book is going to be great for those type of guys.
Yeah, well, I certainly hope so. I mean, like I said, I've enjoyed the process of putting the book together, and I'm so excited. Like I said, I can't stress enough how excited I am to really get it into the hands of Camaro enthusiasts. Throughout the years I've been putting this project together, Chad, I've been able to connect in my travels all around the country and up into Canada for photography and research. I've met all kinds of Camaro enthusiasts that have been supportive of the project and sharing their stories and kind of been eagerly waiting for this book to come out. And so I'm so excited. Like I said, I really am genuinely excited to hear what the enthusiast and fan base has to say, because I did put a lot of time and thought into it, and I think it'll pay off for readers.
Yeah, nice. Do you have a chapter that's your favorite? I always love asking authors what their favorite chapter is. And I think I asked you that of your Copo book. Is there a favorite chapter in this one?
Can I have several? Is that okay?
You can have several. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I would say that some of the chapters that stand out would be any of the cars related to Indian Brickyard, only because from a high level overview, it is the most complete journalistic body of work that spotlights those cars in a quick reference standpoint. So again, if you're into any of the Camaros that were at Indy or at the Indy 500 or Brickyard over the last several decades, that chapter will be your go-to resource. So similarly, the Earnhardt section is another one that stands out, Chad.
Yeah.
Just because I was able to connect with some of the best collections of Earnhardt Camaros, in my opinion, on the planet. I've some of the collectors that have maintained those cars, and so to be able to have access to that, to have the best examples, and again, it's not necessarily in quantity or value per se, from completeness. I'm very excited to say that, again, if you want to know anything about, again, some of these subsets, the chapters in this book will tell you everything you want to know. And I should also mention too, Chad, one of the other goals that I had as the author, from the photography standpoint, it wasn't just providing beautiful imagery, which certainly is important.
Yeah. And you did do.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It was also making sure to spotlight the best examples that either exist or that I could find. Because going back to the whole idea of this being the ultimate reference, not just from a data standpoint, but even from a photography and the subject vehicles that I chose to include, Chad, I wanted to make sure that they best represented how these cars were when they were new, either on the showroom floor or rolling out of the performance shop floor. That was my goal, so that even if you're looking at the photography, you're going to see cars that are representative of how these cars will, there's no additional modifications made by owner. There's nothing added to the vehicle. Again, it was the whole idea of this is all from top to bottom. The book is all about being reference quality.
Original. Was that hard to find original cars?
It's laborious. I will say I'm very blessed to have a large network of Camaro enthusiasts and collectors and friends that are in the hobby. But it does take time. It adds to the process. But I do think that it's highly worth it, though, because the end result showcases it. But and a lot of this came from the years that I've invested into, as you mentioned, the Copo book. So I will say it gets easier, Chad, for someone starting out. But I would encourage, certainly any aspiring journalist or author, set that bar high, because I will say it always pays off. And I got some good advice and wisdom from a close friend of mine who worked with me on the Copo book, who told me, he said, make sure you get the cover right. And I said, why does that matter so much? And he said, because if you don't have the cover right, that really speaks about what you have inside. And what I mean by right is showcase what people can expect inside from the quality of the car, as well as photography. So I really set to do that with this book, where even the cars on this cover.
Yeah, we're looking at the cover now. You've got the main generations.
Yeah, I tried to encapsulate 60 years of Camaro excitement, and it's pretty hard to do. But as you identify, getting multiple generations of Camaros, and then even going to the higher level of finding the location. We shot this at a marina on the north side of Chicago, but even going to the level of hiring the talent, to the actors that I had as part of the scene, and then even placing the cars in the background are there by design, the Camaro and the Chevelle. Now, I will say, full disclosure, because I have got this question as I've been able to talk more and more about the book and show this, the question I get about the cover, everyone wants to know, well, Matt, with your level of intentionality, did you place the sailboat?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was wondering, did he hire the boat to be out there?
If I had known how to find that owner, I would have. I will say that I did not place the sailboat, other than obviously I waited for that the sailboat to pass in the right frame. We were there on a Sunday afternoon in early summer, and obviously boats were coming and going. So I will say I did not place the sailboat, but everything other than that was.
It is a great shot, though. It's a great shot. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just like your other book, your photography. The fact that I've said it before, your photography and your writing and the amount of detail you pay is what I like about your books. A lot of books out there use what we call, resource photography, photography that they can just buy the rights to use. And so you see a lot of books with the same photos over and over again. But what I like about yours is I've looked through it. I've never seen any of these photos before. And that's why I like about your books and stuff.
Right. Well, thank you, Chad. I appreciate that. And, for me, it's all about providing a high quality experience to the reader.
And you've done that. You've done that.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you. My thought, Chad, is that I would want anything that has my byline on it. I want it to be I want it to be a piece that people cherish and enjoy.
Yeah.
And the other thing that from kind of my body of work, the reputation that I want within the industry is that I want car owners or people involved with a project. I want them when they hear, hey, Matt's looking for this kind of Camaro. I want them to want to participate because they know that it's going to be something special.
Yeah.
And that's really what I hope to deliver, is that when people see the book on shelves or see it online, is that when they pick it up, they can tell that something's different about it. And very satisfying. So,
yeah. Well, is there anything else you'd like to let our listeners and viewers know about the book, or anything about yourself?
No, just other than my work is ongoing. I'm not slowing down with my research into the Chevrolet multiple eras of performance. I've continued my research into the Copo era, which again, you've mentioned a lot of people know me for that book that came out in 2018. That work is ongoing, as well as Camaro. It's kind of an area of subject matter expertise that I have, and I've got more ahead of me. So I would just tell your viewers to stay tuned for more updates. And I also, I'm out and about in the industry. I am on staff with Mecum Auctions and typically on site for auctions, as well as representing Mecum around the country at all kinds of automotive events. And I give seminars about different topics that I'm knowledgeable in. So I will say, if people see me out and about, be sure to come up, and I'd love to chat and hear what you have to think about my work.
Yeah. And what's your website again?
TheMattAvery.com.
TheMattAvery.com. We'll make sure we put a link at the bottom for everybody to click to.
Awesome. Thanks, Chad. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate you doing another interview. This was perfect. Yeah, hopefully we'll get to do another one. If you have another book come out in the future, I'll be here for you. And if you ever have something you want to talk about with our listeners, just let me know. We'd love to have you on again.
Will do. I look forward to it.
All right, Matt. Thank you so much for being here. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks again, Matt.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hey guys, hope everybody enjoyed the interview with Matt Avery and his new book, the Camaro Special Editions. I really appreciate him doing it. Don't forget, all of our books ship inside boxes to protect your book. And you can find his book on our website, Midlife Classic Cars. You can also find the t-shirt that I'm wearing today on the website, and all of our books. You can even find the other special edition books that are out there by Car Tech on our website, and our other interview. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to check out Matt's website, and thanks for watching, guys.